Hey everybody, Little Drummer Boy here, and today I hope you're doing well. Today I'm going to talk about 10 reasons why I call the Democratic Party the Devilcrat Party. First of all, because they not only support abortion, killing unborn babies. You know, God said, I knew you before I conceived you in your mother's womb, and He said that you shall not commit murder. And he also invented capital punishment for people who do commit murder. So I hate the comparison between people that are condemned killers being executed, which is biblical, and killing innocent babies, which have never even sinned. So anyway, that's just a stupid comparison. But yeah, nowadays, not only do the Democrats support abortion, but they support it 9 months. Vermont and New York have legalized killing babies up to 9 months to the day of birth. It's just insane. And then you have the governor Northam of Virginia saying that he supports, he's a pediatrician. He just talked about it nonchalant, like he just does it all the time. He said, we take the baby out of the baby we be born, we keep it comfortable, and then the mother and doctor will make a decision. So now we have Democrats talking about killing babies that have already been born, and they voted against the ban in Congress. I forget what it's called right now. Hang on. The Born Alive Act. The Born Alive Act in Congress, the Democrats voted against it. That's to keep alive any baby that survives an abortion and is born. The Democrats, crazy. They just said that somehow that is still the mother's choice, even though the baby's already been born. It's her choice if she wants to take that baby's life. Insane, satanic, demonic. Their baby killing agenda is my number one reason for saying the Democrats are Devilcrats. And I was raised Democrat, but when my mom explained to me what abortion was during the '84 election when I was 14, Reagan versus Mondale, I repented from the Democrat Party real quick. And I'm unaffiliated now because I don't like the Republican Party either, especially the way they treated President Trump. But it's still a lot better than the Democrat Party. All right. Second reason is the Trail of Tears. The Democrats' kickoff in 1830 was the Indian Removal Act, where President Andrew Jackson ran all the Cherokee from here in the Carolinas, Georgia, and Tennessee out to Oklahoma. And a lot of them died walking out there, and that's why it's called the Trail of Tears. That was in the Democrats' kickoff was the Trail of Tears, and of course I'm sure my settler ancestors here loved it. It made the frontier safe for my ancestors. So in a way, I might not be here today if that hadn't happened, but at the same time, it was wrong how they went about it. And I'm sure my ancestors on my mother's side who were from the Oklahoma Band of Cherokee, I'm mostly German and English, but I do have a little bit of Cherokee from the Oklahoma Band. I'm sure they didn't like it at all. The Mexican-American War, Jackson's protege, James K. Polk, both of them were born an hour from here. I've been to both their birthplaces. Jackson was born on the Catawba River in Lancaster, South Carolina. Polk was born in Pineville, just outside of Charlotte. And he did the Mexican-American War, and basically he stole the western part of the country from Mexico. So when the illegals, and I'm not for illegal immigration, I'm conservative, but when they say they're taking Mexico back, well, they do have a point, because the west from New Mexico to California was stolen from Mexico in the Mexican-American War. However, James K. Polk did pay them $15 million afterwards to kind of smooth it over and make it look legit. Slavery in the Civil War, this should be second to abortion. The Democrats supported slavery, killed Republicans by the hundreds of thousands to keep their slaves. Thank God the Republicans won. They had to kill hundreds of thousands of Democrats to free the slaves. And so that's another reason I say the Democratic Party is the Democrat Party. The KKK, immediately after the Civil War, Confederate soldiers started his name is right on the tip of my tongue. I should have wrote it down. But anyway, the one that they dug up in Memphis or tore down his statue. He started the KKK, and right after the war, and that way they were intimidating their former slaves not to vote because of course, the blacks voted Republican back then because Republicans freed them. It wasn't until the Civil Rights Act of 1964 that they started voting Devilcrat, lock, stock, and barrel, even though that's the party that enslaved them and started the Klan to scare them and terrorize them, kill them. And also, my sixth reason the Democratic Party is the Devilcrat Party is because of Planned Parenthood's stated mission by white supremacist Margaret Sanger, who Hillary said was a hero of hers, and actually she said two white supremacists were heroes of hers, Margaret Sanger and Robert KKK Byrd, Senator of West Virginia, but we'll talk about him in a minute. But Margaret Sanger started Planned Parenthood to kill off the human weeds, as she called blacks. And to this day, according to Sean Hannity, 80% of Planned Parenthood clinics are in black neighborhoods, and according to Live Action, 30% of abortions are of black children, even though blacks are only 10% of the population. And sadly, this is done with 90% black votes, which is really tragic. And then the seventh one, I just mentioned him. The longest serving Democrat senator was Robert K. Byrd of West Virginia, who was, I believe, a Grand Kleagle in the Ku Klux Klan. So for their longest serving senator, they have a Grand Kleagle in the Klan. And he served until, 10 years ago. He's just died within the last 10 years. And the Clintons and Obama and all the big wigs went to Charleston, West Virginia, to the Capitol for his funeral. And so that's another reason the Democrats are Devilcrats. They voted against the Civil Rights Act in Congress. There's all this revisionist history about how the Democrats and Republicans have flipped roles. Well, it's not true. 55 years ago, the Democrats voted against the Civil Rights Act in Congress, and Republicans pushed it through. So all that stuff about the racism switching from the Democrat to the Republican Party is just nonsense and hogwash. LBJ, Democrat president, did sign the Civil Rights Act, but he did it for pure political purposes. He is quoted as saying, "We'll have them GD N-words voting Democrat for 200."